It's midnight and you are tuning into Nightline with me, Zahir, Kelvin and Abdullah. The top stories. MAHB sale to foreign company, a false narrative by opposition, says Prime Minister. And 6 charged with supporting, possessing materials related to IS terror group. Tan Sri Anwar Ibrahim has refuted claims by certain parties alleging that the government had compromised national interests by selling Malaysia Airports Holdings Berhad MAHB to foreign entities. The Prime Minister informed the Dewan Rakyat that MAHB has not been sold to any foreign companies and remains a strategic national asset. According to Anwar, the shared deal with Global Infrastructure Partners GIP through a consortium in the exercise to privatize MAHB had allowed Khazanah Nasional Berhad and the Employee Provident Fund EPF's ownership to increase from 41% to 70% once the restructuring of the airport operator is completed. In addition, the key management positions of Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of MAHB will continue to be held by Malaysians.
Ini berbeza dengan naratif di luar. Naratif di luar seolah-olah penjualan. Tidak ada penjualan MAHB kepada syarikat asing. Selama ini syarikat asing memiliki sekitar 27%. Dan inilah yang diambil alih oleh ADIA, Abu Dhabi Investment Authority dan GIP. Itu saya nak jelaskan fakta.
He also pointed out that the involvement of GIP in the privatization of MAHB does not directly undermine national interests as alleged by the opposition.
Apakah kita ada penjualan yang melibatkan lapangan terbang? Tidak. Penjualan ini ataupun exercise ini hanya melibatkan pengurusan. MAHB itu syarikat yang menguruskan lapangan terbang. Lapangan terbang kekal milik kerajaan Malaysia.
Khazanah last month announced that it was leading a consortium known as the Gateway Development Alliance GDA Consortium in a conditional voluntary offer to buy all shares in MAHB that it did not own. Besides GIP, the consortium shareholders also included EPF and Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, ADIA. However, concerns arose after BlackRock, an American asset management company with pro-Israeli links, acquired GIP, where the transaction is expected to be completed in the third quarter of this year. Meanwhile, GIP had reiterated that BlackRock was not in any way involved in the transaction relating to the MAHB privatization through GDA. Meanwhile, Anwar said the delay in implementing subsidy rationalization is among the reasons cited for Malaysia's decline in the 2024 World Competitiveness Ranking WCR report.
Dia kata tentang pengurusan ekonomi. Apa maksud pengurusan ekonomi? Katanya kita tidak tegas dalam soal perbelanjaan. Dalam keadaan perbelanjaan kita itu telah tingkat dan defisit membengkak. Kita masih meluluskan beberapa peruntukan tambahan seperti mana STR, Aisara yang lebih. Saya mengaku. Tetapi oleh kerana keadaan ekonomi begitu dan memikirkan kepentingan rakyat, maka terpaksa kita berikan. Dan ini menyebabkan prestasi kita melemah. Dan ini dikaitkan dengan kelewatan kita melaksanakan penyasaran subsidi.
The Prime Minister also explained that the subsidy adjustment mechanism can improve the country's economic performance, as seen in Indonesia and Thailand, which implemented similar methods earlier. According to the WCR report, Malaysia is ranked 34th out of 67 countries, dropping 7 places from 27 last year. The country is also ranked 4th among ASEAN countries, behind Singapore, Thailand and Indonesia. Malaysia has advanced to Tier 2 in the global rankings for combating human trafficking, according to the 2024 Trafficking in Persons (TIP) report released by the U.S. Department of State on Monday. The Home Ministry said that this improvement is highly significant, as the last time the country was at Tier 2 was in 2017, and it remains the highest position the country has achieved. In a statement on Tuesday, the ministry said that this success resulted from efforts by various stakeholders who have made meaningful and continuous contributions to advancing the agenda of combating human trafficking in Malaysia. Among the significant achievements recorded are the increased number of investigations, convictions with significant sentences, awareness programs and prosecution of allegedly complicit officials. The move to Tier 2 indicates that the government has made significant efforts to improve its response to human trafficking. Last year, Malaysia was upgraded to the Tier 2 watch list of the USTIP report for 2023 after being downgraded to Tier 3 in 2021 and 2022. Countries listed as Tier 3 may face aid restrictions and economic sanctions or not receive trade benefits from the US. In the meantime, Home Minister Datuk Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail said despite Malaysia being placed in Tier 2 of the US Department of State's 2024 TIP report, the ministry will continue to make improvements in curbing human trafficking and forced labour to elevate the country to Tier 1. Speaking at a press conference on Tuesday, Saifuddin said three main focuses have been planned to guide the implementation of the country's efforts, namely enhancing inter-agency cooperation, intensifying efforts to identify and protect victims, and improving prosecution processes. Welcoming Malaysia's progress to Tier 2, he acknowledged that the report still identified several areas needing full compliance.
Apakah indikator penilaian yang memberikan weightage yang signifikan? Antaranya adalah kes yang kita berjaya tangkap, kes yang kita bawa ke muka pengadilan dan angka sabitan. Itu memberikan weightage yang cukup besar.
The latest report also outlines 16 aspects that can be improved upon and an action plan that the country could implement for the next assessment period, which is from April 1st, 2024 to March 31st, 2025. Meanwhile, Saifuddin stated that the 8 individuals arrested over the weekend on suspicion of having links to the IS terror group made the police top brass and several prominent individuals or VVIPs their priority targets as part of efforts to topple the government.
Bila kita kenal pasti individu ini dan daripada soal siasat itu mengesahkan bahawa mereka memegang sesuatu idealism seumpama itu, maka kita klasifikasikan ini adalah satu bentuk ancaman yang boleh berpotensi mengancam keamanan dan ketenteraman dalam negara kita.
Saifuddin also said that the suspect's motive was to spread the militant group's ideology and beliefs, which assert that any government not based on the caliphate must be opposed. He added that the arrests of the 8 suspects, including 2 women aged between 25 and 70, was made as a preventive measure based on the evidence obtained from intelligence gathering and investigations conducted by the Bukit Aman Special Branch Counter-Terrorism Division, E8. 6 individuals, including a married couple, were charged in 4 separate courts for supporting and possessing materials related to the terrorist group IS. However, no pleas were recorded from any of them, as the cases fall under the jurisdiction of the High Court. At the Johor Bahru Sessions Court, 3 individuals, 35-year-old Muhammad Fisol Harun, his 46-year-old wife Suhaini Sarwan, and 37-year-old Muhammad Firdaus Kamal Inzam, arrived at the court premises at 8:30 a.m. under heavy guard by over 30 armed police officers. All 3 nodded in understanding as the charges were read separately before Judge Datuk Cik Wan Zaidi Cik Wan Ibrahim. They were charged under Section 130JB 1A of the Penal Code, which carries penalties under the same provision. Sohaini also faces 2 additional charges of knowingly giving support to IS by using 2 social media accounts. The offences were allegedly committed at Division E8 Counterterrorism Special Branch Bukit Aman at around 5:50 p.m. on May 27. The court fixed July 30th for mention and the appointment of a lawyer. At the Segamat Sessions Court, an unemployed man, Hasbullah Hassan, aged 45, faced 2 similar charges. He nodded in understanding as the charges were read before Judge Rahimah Abdul Majid. For the first charge, Hasbullah is accused of supporting IS by promoting the terrorist group through his social media account. For the second charge, Hasbullah is accused of possessing materials involving videos, images and items related to the terrorist group. The case is set for re-mention on July 24th. In the capital, a restaurant worker was charged at the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court with 3 counts of supporting, possessing items and admitting to being a member of the IS terrorist group. 35-year-old Muhammad Muzammil Muhammad Mohlis was charged with supporting IS via several social media outlets. For the second charge, Muzammil was accused of possessing articles and videos related to IS. For the third, he was accused of admitting to being a member of the group after performing a ceremony with a group leader at an apartment unit in Jalan Cheras, Batu Empat in May this year. The court set August 29 for case re-mention and submission of documents related to the case. At the Kuala Kubu Baru Sessions Court in Selangor, a former soldier faced 2 charges. 37-year-old Muhammad Azidi Said was accused of supporting the IS terrorist group using his social media account. He was also charged with possessing articles related to the IS on his mobile phone. WikiLeaks founder freed after espionage charge plea deal. News from the foreign front when we return.
Apabila siren berbunyi, mereka sedia beraksi. Bersama Korporal Bani menghadapi detik-detik mendebarkan.
Ada lesen ke tak?
Dahsyat betul budak-budak sekarang
Dah viral kat media sosial.
Satu pekan baru saja
Betul!
Dalam Polis Peronda mulai 28 Jun setiap Jumaat 10 malam. Terbaru di TV3 dan stream juga melalui Tonton. Kunci perubahan dan permulaan baharu dalam hidup bermula dengan keinsafan. Air mata malaikat maut 7 Jun. Kiswah Kaabah 14 Jun. Tuli Karena meninggalkan syalat subuh 21 Jun. Surga untuk Isteriku 28 Jun. Sama-sama renungi di slot naluri Jun ini setiap Jumaat 3 petang di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
We're back with news on the foreign front. At least 24 Palestinians were killed in air raids on Gaza City early on Tuesday after deadly overnight airstrike attacks across Gaza. According to Gaza health officials, 2 of the air raids hit schools in Gaza City, killing at least 14 people. The military also pounded the central areas of the city, including a sports club, injuring at least 4 Palestinians. Meanwhile, another attack in the Shati camp hit a house belonging to the extended family of Hamas political chief Ismail Haniyeh, killing 10 of his relatives. The regime, however, did not immediately confirm the early morning strike. The reported strike came 3 days after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the intense phase of the war was winding down, but vowed to continue the war, rejecting calls for a permanent ceasefire. The founder of WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, has agreed to plead guilty in exchange for his release from a British prison, ending his long and bitter standoff with the United States. According to US legal documents made public late Monday, the 52-year-old Australian citizen struck an agreement for his freedom by pleading guilty to a single count of revealing US national defense information. Assange is now scheduled to appear in Saipan at 9 a.m. local time on Wednesday and is expected to be sentenced to about 5 years, the equivalent of the time he has already served in Britain. Meanwhile, Australia's Prime Minister welcomed a delicate plea deal for the WikiLeaks founder's freedom, saying the case had dragged on for too long. Assange had been detained in London's high-security Belmarsh prison since April 2019 after he was accused of publishing some 700,000 confidential documents related to US military and diplomatic activities starting in 2010.
The military encrypted this so they could...
North Korea once again has sent hundreds more thrash-filled balloons southward, the latest in a series of border barrages that have sparked a tit-for-tat propaganda campaign. According to officials, Pyongyang launched about 350 balloons on Monday, with around 100 landing in the south, mainly in northern Gyeonggi province and the capital Seoul. The bags attached to the balloons contain mostly paperweights, posing no safety risk to the public, though residents were urged not to touch the balloons and report any to the military or the police. Earlier this month, hundreds of trash and excrement-filled balloons were floated over the border in what Pyongyang said was retaliation for balloons carrying anti-regime propaganda. Days later, North Korean state media reported that the launching of balloons was being suspended, saying that they had been a thorough countermeasure. Selangor FC set to appeal fine points deduction. Sports when we come back.
Kau tu dah lah hodoh hitam, gemuk lagi tu.
Dia sendiri memang sebenarnya telah merancang membunuh mangsa. Dia cemburu terhadap mangsa.
Mayat dibawa sejauh 500 km dari Terengganu sebelum dicampak dari atas jambatan di Cyberjaya.
Tanpa rasa simpati, dicampak setinggi itu walaupun dia sudah meninggal dunia kan.
Lima sebab anda perlu menonton cerita Rama TV3 Jun ini. Pertama, ketabahan hidup bermadu.
Betul ke cara unik?
Kedua, penyesalan tidak berpenghujung. Ketiga, niat yang disalah erti.
Manusia ke Allah?
Keempat, misteri sebuah kehilangan.
You suka Daniel kan?
Kelima, Cerita Rama TV3, satu destinasi untuk semua telefilm hebat kegemaran anda dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
We're back with sports football. Selangor FC will appeal to the Malaysian Football League MFL's decision to impose a 100,000 ringgit fine and deduction of 3 points on the club for skipping the Charity Shield match against Johor Darul Takzim JDT last month. In a statement on Tuesday, the club reiterated that it had requested for the match to be postponed following the heinous acid attack on its forward Muhammad Faisal Abdul Halim on May 5th and several incidents involving other professional football players. The Red Giants said it only withdrew from the game with JDT after its request for postponement was turned down by MFL. Earlier, MFL said Selangor would have to compensate the Southern Tigers and the league for the financial losses resulting from their withdrawal from the May 10th season opener. It added that in the decisions reached at its recent board meeting, the 100,000 ringgit fine would be donated to charity. On May 8th, Selangor announced it had decided to withdraw from the Charity Shield, and the MFL then cancelled the match on the next day, granting victory and 3 points to JDT. The 2024 Euro now. Mattia Zaccagni kept Italy's title defence alive with an incredible late equaliser in the holders' thrilling 1-1 draw with Croatia on Tuesday. After a goalless first half, Luka Modric's goal in the 55th minute looked like it would be enough to earn the Vatreni a place in the knockout stages. However, Zaccagni had other ideas, latching onto Riccardo Calafiore's pass in the 98th minute and slotted the ball home to salvage the 1-1 draw for the Azzurri. Luciano Spalletti's team finished Group B in second place on 4 points, 5 behind winners Spain, who beat Albania 1-0 thanks to a neat Ferran Torres finish in the 13th minute. Thanks to Zaccagni's late equaliser, the Azzurri is through to the round of 16 and is set to face Switzerland. Still on football, the 2024 Copa America. Brazil missed a string of chances and were left to rue a lack of quality in the final third after they were held to a scoreless draw by Costa Rica in their Group D opener on Tuesday. Brazil, who came into the tournament on the back of a run of poor results in recent months, dominated possession but lacked precision in front of goal with just 3 of their 19 shots on target. Salesiao Caraninho almost got the breakthrough in the 30th minute, but the goal was disallowed for offside after a lengthy VAR delay. The one-way traffic continued after the break, and coach Dorival Jr. brought on youngsters Endrick and Savio in the 70th minute to find the winner, but the 9 times champions failed to break the deadlock until the final whistle was blown. With the result, Brazil stood at second place and is scheduled to face Paraguay next. Eight nabbed for bribery involving projects worth 1.6 billion ringgit. The details after this short break.
Cinta yang cuba dipertahankan, diuji oleh rahsia yang meruntuhkan kepercayaan.
Chris! Dom, that's absolutely stupid! Why did you do that?
Dalog, di ba sinabi ko sa'yo, Bogo matita-tita talaga ang tigas-tigas ang ulo mo?
Let me explain.
Masihkah ada jalan untuk mereka kembali bersama? To Have and To Hold setiap Sabtu 12.30 hari di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Musim ke-7 yang lebih mencabar, penyamar yang lebih licik, penyanyi yang lebih hebat, misi yang sama, penyamar yang berbeza. I Can See Your Voice Malaysia, musim ke-7.
Thank you for staying with us. The CEO of a renowned highway concessionaire in the Klang Valley is among 8 individuals remanded for alleged bribery in connection to 2 highway projects worth 1.6 billion ringgit. According to a source, the man with the Dato' title in his 50s was nabbed on Monday night along with 2 other senior officials from the company. The trio were arrested after the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC, received information on the alleged bribery. They were detained during Ops Lintas between 8 and 11 p.m. on Monday night after appearing at the MACC headquarters in Putrajaya to have their statements recorded. It is understood the bribes were a reward for the awarding of contracts related to 2 highways in the Klang Valley, the first valued at over 1 billion ringgit and the other over 650 million ringgit. The MACC also arrested 5 others linked to the case, including the owner and management staff of a construction company involved in the project. The highway concessionaire's executives will be remanded until Friday, while the 5 people from the construction company were remanded for 3 days. Meanwhile, MACC Deputy Chief Commissioner of Operations, Datuk Sri Ahmad Kushari Yahya, confirmed the arrest and said the case is being investigated under the MACC Act for soliciting or receiving gratification. In another case, the MACC has detained a former company manager on suspicion of submitting fraudulent employment contract documents to secure foreign worker quotas amounting to an estimated 77 million ringgit. Sources close to the investigation disclosed that the suspect, a man in his 40s, was taken into custody around 6 p.m. on Monday while he was present at the MACC office in Putrajaya for questioning. Following the arrest, the suspect was brought to the Putrajaya Magistrates Court on Tuesday morning. Magistrate Erza Zulaika Rohanuddin issued a 7-day remand order effective until July 1st to facilitate further investigation. Initial findings revealed that the suspect, alongside 7 company directors from 4 different companies, allegedly submitted forged employment contract documents to the Labour Department under the Human Resources Ministry. The documents were used to apply for foreign worker quotas. The suspect is believed to have committed the act in 2022 involving 25 fake employment contracts with a total estimated value of around 77 million ringgit. MACC Special Operations Division Senior Director Dato' Azmi Kamruzaman, who confirmed the arrest, said that the case is being investigated under Section 16 of the MACC Act. He also noted that efforts are underway to trace several other individuals who are believed to be connected to the scheme. In Negeri Sembilan, a 37-year-old man who was captured on video assaulting his wife at a hotel has claimed trial at the Port Dickson Magistrates Court on Tuesday. Muhammad Rizwan Ahmad Nasir pleaded not guilty after the charge was read to him before Magistrate Uthman Abdul Ghani. The accused, a technician, was charged with committing the offence against his 38-year-old spouse at around 9:50 a.m. on May 24th. He was charged under Section 352A of the Penal Code for assault or using criminal force. If found guilty, he can be sentenced to up to 6 months in prison or a maximum fine of 2,000 ringgit or both. The magistrate fixed bail at 2,500 ringgit with one surety and ordered the accused to stay away from the victim until the case was disposed of. The court then fixed July 23rd for mention. Previously, police had obtained an order to remand the suspect on June 21st after a clip of the alleged assault went viral. The assault reportedly occurred after the man's wife had confronted him at the hotel for cheating on her. As Nightline draws to a close this time around, let's take a look as Peruvians welcome the winter solstice with a recreation of the ancient Incan Festival of the Sun, or Inti Raymi, in the city of Cusco. With that, I'm Zahir, Kelvin and Abdullah. Thank you for tuning in and be safe.